I'm going to introduce you all now to our next speakers, and we're actually delighted today. And I don't know if it's just because we've got young people on, but instead of just having one speaker per story, we've actually got several per story, which has been fantastic. The next group of people I want to introduce you to are all participants in various forms of an organisation called Youthrive Victoria. Dr. Marianne Brown's going to be joining us. She's the CEO of the organisation, a former teacher and education academic, and a big advocate for young people having good lives in rural communities, and don't we all love the sound of that? Joining her, sitting right next to her, and they've just gotten permission to remove their masks, so no one dobbed them in. They were wearing them before, and they've got their bushels tea as well, is Brady Cronin. Brady is a Monash University science graduate from Maffra, lovely town, and is today the program manager of this organisation. And joining us on another link again is Lottie Lawler. Lottie's 22 years old. She's part of the agricultural industry. Love hearing that. We love that at Rural Aid. She's got a huge passion for the organic sector, particularly the certified organic sector. And she is joining us today from the Swan Hill region where she has just moved to. But I'm going to get out of your way, let you take over. Dr. Marianne Brown and Brady Cronin, over to you.
Hello, thanks very much, Lindsay, for the introduction, and really interesting to hear from Brody about her part of the world. Youthrive Victoria was established in 2008 with a grant from the Helen Macpherson Smith Trust, with the idea that they would give scholarships and leadership development opportunities to young rural people so they'd take their skills and knowledge back to rural communities. Actually came out of the global financial crisis and the millennium drought and the troubles around that. Our purpose is to strengthen rural communities and support young people to be leaders. We have an alumni of over 420 people from over 230 towns in Victoria, and many alumni have returned to programs as coaches, mentors, facilitators, even employees, as Brady is an example. And we have a sense of service built into what we do. We're particularly interested now in building a new concept of community. So we all live in a place, in a real community, but we inhabit a range of others online, and COVID's really emphasised this. So we're consciously building a blended community with the strengths of both the real and virtual worlds, and Brady will talk about that later. Just a little bit on our programs. We run scholarships, and since 2010 we've provided over $1.8 million in scholarships to university or TAFE and apprenticeships. We have a Dream Seeds program, which has been developed by our alumni, which is a workshop for Year 6 students to build aspiration, resilience and connection. We've run workshops for over 1,000 students across 46 schools across Victoria, and we want young people to see the strengths within themselves and their communities and to have pride in their towns and each other's. We built a series of online resources for students and teachers, so perfect timing for COVID. They were launched this year, and the link is going to be posted shortly. We've got a Young Rural Leaders program, which is based on the pillars of sustainable me, so all around wellbeing, sustainable community and sustainable environment. We offer youth mental health first aid training, and we want people to be the leaders and creators of their own futures. For us, a silver lining of COVID, and we're really looking for them, was moving our 6-day residential leadership program online or into a properly blended program. So we've learnt what works online and what's challenging. We've just run 14 weeks every second week online, and we're hoping to run 3 days out at the farm at Nambour in December. So without COVID, we wouldn't have had this test run of a truly blended leadership program, and we've created a whole brand new community of people who haven't even had a chance to meet yet. But we've had substantial conversations, lots of group activities, creative tasks. We even had an exhibition on Monday night. So a really great opportunity for us there. On the Sustainable Community Day, as part of this program, we help people love where they came from, because often when you go away to study or work, you just leave that town behind. We work on asset-based community development principles and placemaking practices. We're building capacity to lead and connecting with communities. We've visited men's sheds, local businesses and social enterprises. We're now focusing on intergenerational learning and learning from each other, could talk about that for ages, but I won't. Over to Brady.
No worries. Thanks, Marianne. Yeah, so, well, first, I'm Brady, the program coordinator at Youthrive Victoria, so do a lot with the leadership and mentoring in primary school program. I'm going to talk a bit about mentoring, as it's a crucial part to young rural people's development. In particular, it builds their connection to community, resilience, support networks, and aspiration. A mentoring program, which you can see here, started in 2010 and has had over 600 involvements. Throughout our mentoring program, we've got quite a few different streams, but the main ones that people really opt for is this transition mentoring. So first year university students and vocational education students getting mentoring, and career mentors. So pretty self-explanatory, looking at business and their jobs, careers and entrepreneurship. To foster an effective program like we've done here, there's a few points I'd like to point out. Is that the mentoring relationship should be mutually beneficial. It should be an open relationship. So definitely open both ways, both way learning process, sorry. So all mentors and mentees receive the same training together, and they design their own mentoring program together ourselves. So again, back to that really unique relationships and unique individuals. Everyone wants something different out of this. Mentoring involves a more experienced person helping a less experienced person to achieve their goals. And that's important, achieve their goals. Often it's seen as someone, a mentor, having to tell the mentee to jump through the same loops, but actually, how can we listen to them and challenge them to achieve the same goal, their goals? Thirdly, mentoring needs to challenge the idea, and Peter was saying this, challenge the idea of preparing young people for the future. We in fact need to empower them for now. And fourthly, connect young people to young people. Mentors don't have to be actually that older. Sometimes they're just a couple of years apart in most of our programs. And that's a really important part sometimes, to mobilize youth, to connect them with another young rural person. Moving on now to our rural youth network. So this is the exciting thing that Marianne was alluding to. We're really aiming to address isolation and the lack of social connection that young rural people are experiencing, especially throughout this time of COVID-19. We're creating a new type of community where virtual and real worlds intersect, a community that fosters sharing of wellbeing, education, employment opportunities, knowledge and support. In a rapid response to COVID-19, we got the Rural Youth Network up and going in about March. We created a website, quickly got it up and going for rural people to study online and study online and work from home as well. So on this website, we had study and work tips, how to stay motivated from home, and also some leadership opportunities. That's really important to keep engaged while we're at home in these times. We also started Zoom calls every three times a week, every week, to focus on motivation, online learning and wellbeing. It was just a great opportunity to allow them to set goals, connect, reflect on how they're going at the moment, and empathize with each other about what they're all going through. And they continue every Wednesday night, so feel free to look up our website and jump on also. And we're really focusing on building this new type of community further to make young people comfortable to form these inspiring connections locally and also more broadly across the state. This is happening as we're creating this online platform at the moment, which will allow individuals to share interests, work through challenges, build new skills and create opportunities. I think we'll be able to capture some ideas, and hopefully we'll get those young entrepreneurs out there as well and creating their own opportunities with some social purpose. We're also fostering the connection that's made online by providing some COVID-safe gathering opportunities. And I think that's really important as well, because we know that we can connect online now because of COVID, which is great, and forming that with the good old meet in person will just redefine really what communities are and how we interact and connect with each other. So I might just pass over to Lottie, and she can talk a bit about the impact that Youthrive and these connections have had. Welcome to the stage, Lottie.
Thank you, Brady. Yeah, look, hello everyone, and I'm Lottie. I'm coming to you from the north of Victoria in beautiful Swan Hill, and conscious of my 5-minute time slot, so I'm going to race through. But first of all, just wanted to say hello to everyone and thank you to Peter and Brady for the wonderful stories we've just heard. Yeah, I'm going to first speak about an activity we do on the leadership camp called Photovoice, and then jump into, I suppose, the impact, both the intangible and tangible, of taking part in the Youthrive leadership program. So I suppose I come from an interesting perspective of, different from Brady and Marianne, I suppose, being a camp attendee and now a Youthrive alumni. So really, I'm probably just going to sound like I'm doing a Youthrive plug, but I just love the organisation. It's just awesome. So I'm really just speaking from the heart, but it is an incredible thing to be a part of. So Photovoice is a concept, I suppose, that was developed to give people pride in their communities, and we take part in that on the leadership camp, and it's quite an interesting activity to take part in, as Marianne alluded to. Typically, as a young person leaving school and going out into another community, whether that be work or study, you're typically leaving your community, and so to sit back and sort of reflect on it is an interesting concept. But it's really helped me to be very conscious of the communities that I'm now a part of, as I, go out into the adult real world. And to really notice the assets of a space and a community rather than just noticing the deficiencies. So what we actually do is bring photos along to camp and just create a bit of a poster, and we walk around and experience each other's hometowns or rural communities, and it's really really wonderful activity to, as I said, just sort of draw that consciousness to the assets, and I mean, it's just a wonderful way to really, it does increase your sense of control as well. I mean, rather than that hopelessness of, I can't do anything to improve where I live, or, my town's boring, being able to sit back and go, no, actually, what is it that makes my town my town? What's great about it? So, and I suppose to move on to the impact of Youthrive, that what I just mentioned, Photovoice, is just one of the small activities that we do on the camp, but the number of opportunities and experiences that I've been able to take on since going on the camp and becoming an alumni has just been incredible and truly life-changing. Like, I'm not exaggerating, it's just an amazing community. As a young person, I suppose Youthrive gives me a space to connect, especially with the Wellness Wednesday Zooms. And it's a space for real conversation as well. I think it's just wonderful to sort of be supported wherever you are, Victoria-wide and a little bit interstate. We're able to connect with each other virtually and in person when we're not in a group of. And it's truly wonderful having that sort of tribe outside of wherever your physical environment is. And I suppose a tangible result of all the personal development work that we do on our values and community and environmental sustainability and everything that's been mentioned by Brady and Marianne already is this desire to sort of to be a community change maker. And I suppose my dream is to set up a bit of a farm hub, being a worker on a large certified organic farm in a rural community. I'm quite aware of the I suppose the ironic lack of access to local produce, and the local community is just crying out for local produce. And we, in a COVID world, when COVID first started, I really noticed that people didn't want to go to the supermarkets, and certain members of the population, especially elderly, couldn't actually leave their homes. So we set up a little bit of a produce box delivery system, and we set up little satellite. We took our produce to satellite towns, and also did a few deliveries to houses as well. And it just really took off, but it was our farm centric. And my dream was to expand that to involve all the farmers in the area and have a real hub where they can sell their produce direct to local people. And the only reason I can do that is because I'm part of a wonderful business that's willing to support me in my ideas. So when we bring it back to how can small towns mobilise their young people, I think a really big thing is access to capital. And I just hope that there's enough business owners or community members out there that are happy to back a young person or support a young person when they come up with a really great idea that's going to benefit the community, and just say, yep, we'll support you in any way we can, give it a go. It might take off, it might fail, but either way, you are mobilising those young people. And I think that's what I hope to do with this hub is sort of a culmination of all my experiences and the foundations that have been built with Youthrive, and then I suppose a bit of luck being in a business that is willing to support me. And ultimately it is a humble goal when you hear what other people have been doing and you hear Brody's stories and whole town transformations, but I think it's worthy, and I also think it's important because it will really foster local pride in our community, having local producers being able to provide to local people. And it's also actionable because I'm using the assets and the contacts that I have access to. So it's realistic. I think my dream is realistic, and I'm really looking for it.
Absolutely love your idea, Lottie, and I'd love to see other towns with young people that are passionate about agriculture.